down, and I'm gonna give you what Evan Mobley been doing. Shout out to Evan Mobley. He's been getting his work in. He's got a lot of awards. Where we at? He's been getting a lot of awards. He has been Defensive Player of the Year. He has been first team all defense. Let's take a look at this. Take this down. So, Evan Mobley's accolades in 4 seasons. Defensive Player of the Year 2025. All NBA second team 2025. 2-time all defensive team 2023 and 2025. He was all-star for the first time last year, all rookie team, first team. One of the best starts to a career in franchise history. Evan Mobley has been racking up the awards. Here's the problem. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been bounced in the last 2 rounds. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been bounced in the last 2 playoff series, last 3 actually, to the Knicks, to the Celtics, and to the Indiana Pacers, who continue to put up big numbers. And now Bill Simmons comes out and says, "Listen, guys, we are thinking that are we really going to?"
Listening to Bill Simmons talk about potential.
I messed that set up a bit. But Bill Simmons had a conversation, and Bill Simmons talked about Giannis for Evan Mobley. And you know what the crazy part about it was? I was looking at it, and I was looking at the stats, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, man, come on, man, that shouldn't happen. But then I said, man, I wonder how many people would make that deal. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to play this clip right here. They break down the thing, break down its schedule. I don't know if it works with the second apron, but what I want your thoughts on is this. Would you make this trade? Evan Mobley right now in his prime for Giannis, who is 30 years old. I need you to put this in the chat. I need to know. 1, that you would make the deal. 2, no. I don't want no parts about it. 1, yes. 2, no. Would you make this trade for Giannis trading Evan Mobley? Listen to this and then break down what the thought process for both teams.
I was listening to Bill Simmons talk about potential Giannis deals this week, and he floated this idea of Giannis being traded effectively straight up for Evan Mobley. I was tweeting a little bit about it on Tuesday. Bobby Marks, my good friend over at ESPN, shut down the dream of a Giannis Mobley talk because the CBA doesn't allow it. Second apron team that Cleveland is. Still, let's play out the hypothetical here. Like, let's say there's a way to make the math, and you can do a deal that is centered around Giannis Antetokounmpo for Evan Mobley. This would be a tough deal, I think, for either one of these teams to turn down. If you're Milwaukee, you're not getting dollar for dollar value back for Giannis. That's not possible. He's a perennial MVP candidate, still one of the best players, two-way players in the game. But he's also 30 years old, and I've said this many times, and I don't believe it's debatable, that even with the Eastern Conference being weaker next year, and I want to get to that when I talk about Cleveland, you're not winning a championship next season with Damian Lillard out and no reasonable way to get somebody in to replace him. They've made their deals, and they made their mistakes, like we talked about with the draft picks. They have not hit on these draft picks enough that they're able to supplement the loss of talent they've had over the years. So if I'm Milwaukee and I have a chance to get a 23-year-old reigning defensive player of the year who improved measurably offensively this year under Kenny Atkinson as his usage rate went up and all his numbers went up across the board. Kenny Atkinson was talking to me about Magic Johnson comps with Evan Mobley. So high praise from his head coach. I would have to really consider that because that is the foundational rebuilding piece. Maybe you get a couple draft picks or something back in return. I'd consider if I was Milwaukee. If I was the Cleveland, I'd be all in. Like, they don't have enough, right? With just Mobley, Mitchell, and Garland. I think that's played out over the last couple of years. I mean, Mobley will take another leap next year, presumably, but it still might not be enough. Like, the demise of the Celtics, at least the 1 year demise of the Celtics, has opened up a window in the Eastern Conference. Like, the Eastern Conference stinks. Compared to the West, the Eastern Conference stinks. And with Tatum likely out all of next season, who is the favorite to win the East next year? Is it one of the two teams in the conference finals right now? Maybe. Is it Cleveland as currently constituted? Maybe. Does Orlando make a move to jump? Like, there's just a lot of things that could happen where, one deal could push you over the edge. If I'm Cleveland and I've got Mitchell in his prime, Garland just hitting his prime, basically, if I had the opportunity to go and get Giannis, to add him to that mix, I would do it. Because a big three of Giannis, Mitchell, Garland, that's enough to win you the Eastern Conference. Maybe it's not enough to win you a championship, because whoever comes out of the West is probably going to be a beast. But to me, if the math could math, point that out right away, but if the math could math, if I was both teams, I'd want to do that deal.
Yeah, Chris, we're not Bobby Marks, so it depends on how the math works, but it's a no-brainer. Now, to be clear, because I know that this has been a source of many discussions, especially in the last few podcasts. Do you trade Giannis? It's a no-brainer. Now, if it wasn't for Damian Lillard's injury, I might have some second guesses because their chemistry's improved a lot. Just the idea of a small market team trading their star, unless he actually came out and explicitly said, I want out. But because Damian Lillard's injury is such a heavy cloud for next season, they got to do it whether Giannis asks for a trade or not, because they've already sniffed 3 consecutive first-round exits. They're not going to go anywhere repeating the same formula. So cut your losses now. You're not going to get an equal value deal, because you probably won't with any superstar trade. But what's the alternative? Just running around the hamster wheel, going nowhere? How about collect assets that maybe help you win now, but also help you win in the future? And with this proposed idea that you mentioned with Evan Mobley, again, the math has to math, but it's a great fit for both ends. Obviously, for Cleveland, it helps them maximize their odds to go out again next season, also hope for better health. With the Bucks, I think we have to keep in mind with Evan Mobley, not only is he defensive player of the year, not only has he grown as an offensive player, but this all took place while sharing on-court time with Jarrett Allen, who is another big. He showed in today's NBA that it's okay to play with another big because he can complement that big skill set. Jarrett Allen's obviously more of a defensive guru than offensive scorer, but he was able to play off of him. So as it pertains to his fit with Brook Lopez, it would be a seamless fit, whether or not he's on the same roster or if they get another big. I think the other thing we also have to keep in mind is Evan Mobley had these kind of numbers despite the fact that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are on the team. Now, it all goes hand in hand. They're great playmakers, but you also have to keep in the idea that there's only one basketball, and there has to be a buy-in of making sure that the offensive balance flows. Evan Mobley played a very key part in not being the weak link in that. So his fit would be seamless in Milwaukee with his skill set and how he would fit with other teammates.
Listen, that is courtesy of Sports Illustrated, and this got me thinking. Now, we're going to get to him. I see we got over 103 comments since we talked about this. If you would make the trade, put a 1 in there. If you wouldn't, put a 2. Evan Mobley has improved. Let's start right there. Evan Mobley has done a tremendous job of upping his offensive game. What he was able to do this year, he had a situation where he started shooting more threes. He was a defensive player of the year, first team all defense. He's a game changer on defense. He's a guy, and I think one of his best strong suits is the fact that on pick and rolls, and we saw Jarrett Allen get kind of cooked a little bit against Halliburton on pick and rolls. When you switch with Evan Mobley, the way he's able to move his feet and use his length in order to get contested shots on step backs, when you beat him to the basket, he has the ability to recover with his length. Evan Mobley showed a lot of things this year. However, there's a segment of the population that believes Evan Mobley's offensive game will never be Kevin Garnett. It will never be Durant. It'll never, frankly, it won't be Giannis. People are saying he may peak at 24 points a game, maybe go up to 9, 10 rebounds, 24 and 10. But his three-point ability and his defense ability make up for that as well. But sometimes I'm just asking y'all, because when you look at it and you take a look at what Giannis is bringing to the table, I mean, what Giannis is bringing to the table is wild. Like, let's look at, and I think sometimes we don't take a look at people's statistics, and we kind of just gloss over it because we really don't kind of pay attention to it like that. When you look at what Giannis did in the playoffs against the Pacers, I mean, this was wild. Let's take a look at this. He averaged 30 points, 11.6, almost 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.1 steals and blocks, 62% true shooting, and is finishing the top 5 in MVP voting each year in the last 5 seasons. This is the last 5 seasons. This isn't 1 year. This is what he's done over the last 5 seasons. Just been in the top 5 in MVP voting every year. 30 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.1 steals and blocks. The dude is a monster. The trade won't go down because of the second apron. But it is a fascinating conversation when you talk about it. If you put him with Donovan Mitchell, that's ugly. That's super ugly. However, do we know what Evan Mobley can be if he did not play with Donovan Mitchell? Would you just stick with Evan Mobley and increase his usage? And tell Darius Garland, you got to be the third option. Evan Mobley, we got to dump it in the post. I done flip-flopped on this about 5 or 6 times. I've said all along, I said on UCSS last week that if you can get Giannis, it's just a no-brainer. But Evan Mobley, he's in his trajectory and he's 23 years old. I'm excited to see what you guys say, and we're going to get to it right now. Let's get to it. I want to figure out what we doing here. What we doing? Let's get to we got some ones, got some twos. Make sure we got all that covered. We got one super chat. I see you, uncles and aunties. Appreciate you, G. Bush. I appreciate you too. Reverend B.J. Nelson, we appreciate you. Phyllis Smith, I just stopped by to say, tell Mary if she's going to talk about Shador to get her facts right, she's disrespectful. I appreciate you, Phyllis. Hey, to see you. Hey, we in the building. Oh, G. Bush, you've been watching us. That explains it. You know the real. You know what it is. Let's get to these ones and twos. Let's get to these ones and twos. Let me see. Let me see what y'all doing with this Evan Mobley deal. Y'all been killing it. Y'all been killing it today, man. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in too. Wherever you at. Wherever you at. This is a mixed situation. Here we go. Let me see. Let me see. Here we go. G Money says, nah, bro. That's a 2. We can't do it for Evan Mobley. Texas Truth can't make the move. Reggie Bud Glover can't make that move. D the Man 87, nope. Hey, the Noes have it so far. The Noes have it. Hey, Evan Mobley. Hey, big dog. They like you. Keep balling. Mel says, oh, there's 1-1. Nope. We keep it Mobley. Right now, the Noes have it. Nope. 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 Hey, we got 2 yeses, right? Nope. Hey, Kurt says all the 2s in the world. Oh, got all the 2s. That's 3 yeses, 4 yeses, 5 yeses, 6 yeses, 7 yeses, 8. Listen, the yeses is coming back a little bit. All right, here come the 2s. Here come the 2s. Here come the 2s. The 2s is in the building. Giannis still got 5 more years. Yes, for real, Mobley is going to be what he is now. Let's see. Let me see. You make a trade for Giannis, you need to not include Mobley. Giannis is 30. His game is entirely based on his athleticism. Mobley is extremely high ceiling. He could be a 28-10 guy in 2 to 3 years. I like your rationale. We'll talk Mobley in Orlando and give you Anthony. Shut up. You stop playing around. Mobley can defend and shoot. The twos have it. Right now, the twos looking like Cavs should not trade Mobley. They need to move Garland and Allen. Facts. I'm moving anybody is Allen and Garland. Twos is in there. Twos. Y'all cooking. There is a 1 right here. There's a couple 1s. Home and Duke of Nyla. I thought even the second apron, the only way we could trade for Giannis if we trade Mobley. Nah, the way the second apron works is, first of all, the Cavs are in the second apron. And when you're in the second apron, that means you're up out of here. That means you can't make a trade unless it's the exact same dollar for dollar. And the dollars are, and then you can't trade 2 people for 1 person. Now, it makes sense, like, why the trade makes sense on paper, but not in reality is Evan Mobley is the best player you could possibly get that has a high enough salary that can match up with Giannis to be able to make the trade 1 for 1, because you can't do 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 if you were in the second apron, which the Cavs are. So they can't make that move. So that's where it's at. They would have to get under the apron, which means they'd have to trade Dean Wade. They'd have to trade Isaac Okoro for basically picks, take no money back. But the problem with that is not too many teams have cap space in order for you to do that. And who wants to just take on Dean Wade or Isaac Okoro in that salary for nothing? They'd have to actually want those players. That's why.